We cannot hear anything.
It just started working for me. I heard some clapping.
Yeah, I don't hear anything either in the YouTube channel or here on the Zoom.
Oh, but I can hear you and you can hear me.
Yes, but nothing from there.
I can hear you too.
Can you hear
Okay.
something? Can you hear something from the meeting?
I can hear nothing from the meeting.
Okay, so that's our clue, is that there's something wrong with their sound system, but not with Zoom.
Yeah.
So I
Okay.
don't know why some people are clapping. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to send a message to Barb and let her know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And the same on the YouTube as well. Nothing, no audio on YouTube at all.
Okay. And very, very briefly, like about 5 minutes ago, very briefly, I heard about 2 seconds of auditorium noise and then it went away.
I heard that too. So I'm wondering about
Okay.
a lawyer or something. Okay.
Yeah.
I will send
Okay.
her a message.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hey, Laura, can you hear us?
Yes, I heard that. Yes.
So it sounds like there's no sound coming from our room to the actual Zoom meeting. So I can't hear you, but hopefully you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you too.
And we can hear you, but we cannot hear anything from the room. And the same for the YouTube channel as well. We cannot hear anything in the YouTube channel.
Yeah, they can't hear us talking to them. They can just see our mouths moving.
That's frustrating.
We're trying to figure out the tech so that we could at least hear you. We've moved through board president, vice president, and treasurer. So now we're on board clerk. But Barb is frantically trying to figure out how to make sure that you can hear us. You're muted, Laura.
For what it's worth, that exchange that between Maya and Laura just came through on the YouTube meeting. It was audible on the YouTube meeting as well as Zoom, just so you know.
Thank you. Okay, we're working on it.
So for those people who can hear me, I just got an update from Barb. She does not know how to get the audio working right now. I'm not sure what the rest of you want to do. I have to stay on in case we can get it working, but they are continuing on with the meeting right now.
All right, thank you. I guess I'll stay on and hope that I hear something at some point.
I just unmuted myself. I can hear you, Peter.
I will try to stay on for another 5 minutes or so, but hopefully they can record it and we can enjoy recording with audio later on.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say something.
Testing.
Yeah, it's only gonna be.
So some people in the Zoom can hear and others cannot.
special needs. between SPAs that have a reason
We are essential. That without SEAs, this district, its schools, and many of its kids would fall apart. We are the ones who wipe noses and behinds. We are the ones who work out fights, give hugs, and stern lectures. We are the ones for speak for children who cannot speak, who calm down students who get so violent that we require the same training that people who work in prisons get. We have the kids with tough, tragic stories, and we love them. We love them all. Every single SEA I have worked with is amazing and loves these kids. Last night, I talked to a woman who had been an SEA for nearly 30 years. She told me that she spends most of her salary on my kids, and by my kids, she meant her students, not her 7 grandchildren. But she also told me that before she could supplement that salary with Social Security, she took on 2nd and 3rd jobs. How can you, in good conscience, hear stories like that and not hear us when we ask to be paid what we deserve? This job demands patience, flexibility, intuition, compassion, intelligence, a heck of a lot. It's some of the most challenging work I've ever done. And I have fancy bachelor's and master's degrees, and I have high pressure job histories. It's tough. Yet my salary now is less than what my teenager is going to get paid for her summer job at Culver's. Finally, this is an issue of equity. This is my last bit. We all know that we need to do a lot better when it comes to our staff looking like our city. The staff of color we do have are at the bottom of the ladder in the ESEA unit. Recently, all of us have attended many in-service trainings about equity and fairness. We have done a lot of thinking, and we should do a lot of thinking about how we treat our students. But I challenge those of you in positions of power on the school board and in the administration to think about how you treat your own staff. Look in the mirror. Anybody who works with young children knows the importance of modeling the behaviors and the attitudes that you teach. It's not what you say in press releases or interviews or in the trainings that count. It's what you do. It is time to practice what you preach. It is time to give those of us who work so hard and so passionately with our children, our vulnerable children, it's time to give us the respect and the salaries we deserve. Thank you.
We have one more person registered to speak in person. So Gigi Herman.
Good evening, Superintendent Jenkins and members of the Board of Education. We, the school-based secretaries, are asking for your support. When it comes to COVID bonuses, we have been overlooked and feel undervalued. When you failed to recognize our work by not including school secretaries as part of the bonus group, you sent us the message that our work is not valued, especially giving others bonuses that increase their pay so that it closely reflects our pay without giving them all the additional responsibilities that we have as secretaries. Because we show up and do our job and sometimes others' jobs, we've been penalized. Many of us have even had to serve breakfast or sit in a classroom. We already have so many responsibilities, from processing 4 different payrolls, ordering for the entire school, attendance, arranging field trip transportation, checking to make sure volunteers have been vetted, watching the cameras, checking students in and out of schools, making deposits, balancing the school's checkbook, issuing P cards for purchases, matching P card statements, entering sub jobs into frontline, entering building permits, and the list goes on. And of course, COVID has added even more responsibilities. From arranging for subs and class coverage to ensuring that COVID positive students are not showing up for school. One of our schools paid over 400 class coverages in the last pay period. That takes great organizational skills and time management. All of these things we do with constant interruptions. Our work has spilled over into our nights and weekends, not only due to the sheer volume of it, but also helping staff and communicating with our families. We are operating at this frenzied pace with no slowdown in sight. We respectfully request that you give school-based secretaries the bonuses that we well deserve. Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us for public comment in person. We have 2 folks registered to speak who are going to join us via Zoom, and Barb and Jesse are going to bring them on.
We'll hear from Barbara Davis first.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. When I started teaching 28 years ago, a master administrator shared some powerful advice with me. Whatever you ask for will never be denied if your argument is guided by what is best for kids. I've heeded this advice my entire career as a teacher and advocate. 3 years ago, our homeowners board hosted central office staff to present the referendum and share the importance behind supporting much needed renovations to our schools and much needed salary improvements for our teachers. Madison taxpayers heard their message and answered with their support, despite our already high property taxes, because we believe in the importance of safe, clean schools for kids and competent, experienced teachers to support their learning. I attended formerly Falk Elementary, formerly Orchard Ridge Middle, and formerly Memorial High School, and not just the names have changed over time. The burden on schools is greater, with more free meals, more social workers and counselors, the need for technology and the staff to maintain it, which so quickly becomes obsolete, placing additional pressure on the budget. However, the population of Madison has nearly tripled, and with 1,000 more rooftops, many property values in excess of $300,000, East Washington and Park Street corridors are packed with new development projects in TIF zones, much of which now generates revenues that also contribute to MMSD. So I ask, what are the priorities? The decisions that are best for kids? Is it $1 million contract with consultancy for new ideas, or a $6 million purchase of yet another digital literacy program that puts kids behind screens and tracks their data? What is really best for kids is the relationships that they have with the teachers who care for them every single day, the trusted adult that they confide in, the person who knows them well enough to understand their struggles and to help them overcome their challenges in the face of their obstacles. It's also adequate support staff for special education students who struggle to learn in our classrooms alongside their peers without disabilities. Support staff for them in every class, not just the core subjects, so they can thrive instead of just survive. But sadly, leadership has not heeded the harbinger of teacher exodus in our schools. While people like me who are nearing retirement will likely hang on a bit longer, teachers in the apogee of their career are reevaluating, and they are leaving for employment that will support their own need to own a home, provide for children, and plan for college. Mid-range educators can't afford to stay, and they are the district's most valuable asset with their knowledge and understanding of students that is cultivated by years of experience in their classrooms. I am disappointed in MMSD's priorities, and I am disappointed in our union's lack of initiatives. The standoff of wait and see is farcical. Wait and see what exactly? Wait and see how many teachers don't return? Wait and see the frantic scramble to find competent replacements? Wait and see if the district really believes that teachers and EAs are a priority like they told voters during the referendum? Wait and see how many teachers are willing to do more with less for another year? If the special education students will get the support they so desperately deserve? Replacing seasoned educators with new recruits or substitutes is not going to replace their value to our students. Our community's future lies with its ability to educate our children, starting with the number and the quality of teachers, not with more fancy computer programs or consulting firms or data studies or a bunch of coordinators. Like my administrator told me on the first week of school, what is best for kids should guide every decision. And it's time to make the educators a priority. because we are the frontline best chance that they have. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Gregory Murray.
Good evening, board. I drove in because the Zoom link and the electronics weren't working. My name is Greg Murray, and I'm the proud parent of two youngsters who graduated from La Follette High School, L's up. My son is graduating this year and moving on to a secondary education. And so I wanted to start out with something positive like that for the board to share a couple of success stories from two students. I'm proud to have had them gone through MMSD. But I must confess, I'm here as a parent tonight, and I'm frankly just tired. This afternoon, we got yet another email from Mr. Thompson that yet another gun was found in the school today. Thank goodness for the teachers there. Thank goodness for the staff, Mr. Thompson, the likes of Johnny Milton and Coach, and the people who keep that school safe. But I've had a daughter go through that school and a son now, 6 years, at least 8 gun incidents. 2 kids have been shot. And in the past, I've been told, well, one was in the parking lot, so that wasn't really the school, and one was on the bus right outside the school, so that one doesn't really count. Safety is paramount. Members of this board dramatically changed the safety policy for the school district a couple of years ago, and they did not put in a new policy. It's been like you guys have been Nero, fiddling while safety burns and it goes unresolved. You waited months before even putting a committee together. In the past 2 committees, I think they're still introducing themselves. Safety cannot wait another couple years. Parents, your community is on the verge of losing trust in this institution. And it is sad, it is scary. We need to have faith that you are looking out for the safety of our kids. And gun incident after gun incident without a policy while we sit here and just study it and think about it, that's not progress. And so my plea tonight, especially to the new members of the board, take action, change the BEP, do what needs to happen to provide support for your teachers and these students and address the safety issues. Please, your community is losing faith. We need action, not more study groups. I thought that was going to be the only thing I was going to come here and talk to about tonight. I took a quick look at the agenda. And I thought I'd be interested in an update on the referendum, the construction referendum. And some of you probably recognize me. I've been here to talk in the past about the construction referendum. And I flipped to slide 16 on the update, that presentation tonight, and see that La Follette is getting $7 million less than the other 3 comprehensive high schools. Like, how can that be? We came here last year and pleaded with you all to be equitable. Follow your equity policy. Memorial and West raised millions and millions and millions of dollars in private funding to support their projects. And this board, not all of you members, but members of the old board, looked to us and said, look, if other people on the West Side are getting millions of dollars in private funding, hey, that's cool. That follows our equity policy. I'll confess I didn't understand it. But now this slide right here shows that the others are starting with a base of 70 million each, and La Follette is starting with 67 million. When you add the inflators for inflation and whatnot, they're each getting $78 million, and La Follette is getting 71. Like, I stopped paying attention as a parent for like a couple months. And the conversations about equity go out the window. You're treating La Follette like a second-class citizen. You're othering them. That is your high school with the most special education kids, with the highest amount of poverty, and your most diverse student population. If anything, they need more than the other comprehensive high schools. We're not even asking for more. How about you just stay even? Why? $7 million. Like, as a parent whose kid is graduating,
I'm a bit exhausted. Like, I'm just tired. Do your job. Do your job. Keep the funding equitable, not even more. We're not asking for more. Equitable. Do your job.
That is it for public comment. We move now to the board president's announcements, and I'll start my announcements this evening with a resolution recognizing Barb Osborne. Whereas Barb Osborne, Secretary to the Madison Metropolitan School District Board of Education, will retire on June 3rd, 2022. Whereas Ms. Osborne has completed outstanding service to the Madison Metropolitan School District since 1993. Whereas Ms. Osborne has earned the administration and respect of the School Board of Education, her colleagues, and the community for her dedication, congeniality, enthusiasm, professionalism, sense of humor, and hard work. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Madison Metropolitan School District Board of Education does hereby extend to Barb Osborne, Secretary to the Board, our sincerest, grateful appreciation for her dedication, service to the Madison Metropolitan School Districts, and our congratulations on her well-earned retirement, and our best wishes for her continued success, happiness, and good health in the years to come. Therefore, be it further resolved that this statement be permanently imprinted in the Board of Education minutes for the regular meeting of May 24th, 2022. Barb Osborne, thank you so much. Oh. I know, but I'm going to read the rest of my announcements, and then I'm going to give folks a chance to let Barb know how much she means to us. Celebrating excellence, Memorial High School senior Anaya Kushner was selected as one of only 161 high school seniors across the country to be named a 2022 U.S. Presidential Scholar. Next fall, she will attend Yale University, pursuing her passion in biology, global health, and social justice. Get it? Very cool. Celebrating our staff and our community, this month we celebrate Principal Appreciation Day, May 1st, Teacher Appreciation Week, May 2nd through May 6th, School Nurse Appreciation Day, May 11th. Thank you for everything that you do for our scholars, families, staff, and community. We also recognize the contribution and achievement of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders as we celebrate Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. This month, we raise awareness of trauma and the impact of mental health can have on the physical and emotional and mental well-being of children, families, and communities. Mental Health Month was established in 1949 due to increased awareness of the importance of mental health and wellness in Americans' lives, to celebrate recovery from mental illness. We also give thanks to the dedicated mental health providers whose service and support improve the lives of so many Americans, including here in Madison. I am going to invite my fellow board members to speak to Barb's retirement. I know it's tempting to beg her to stay, but we're gonna wish you well, Barb. You deserve to retire. You've been working for this district since I was in first grade. I'm gonna start with Chris Gomez-Schmidt, and we're gonna make our way around.
Okay, I will simply say, Barb, since I started coming to board meetings and standing at that podium and speaking on different issues, you are one of the consistent threads. You have always been here at every meeting, at every event. And I just want to tell you how much I appreciate all you have done for boards of the past and this current board. As a board member, I've truly appreciated your expertise and your guidance and your help with, you know, a million questions that I've had. You will truly be missed. We really appreciate you helping Jesse get oriented to the position. Just know that you will be missed, and I'm really happy for you and wish you all the best in your retirement.
Well, I knew this day was coming. I don't like change. It's not something I do well. I think everyone's pretty aware of that. But Barb, you and I have gone back 5 years. It was 5 years in April when I first met you. I have to say, from organizing my binders, helping me figure out where my meetings were, when they were, resetting my password no less than 11 times within one semester, and also recreating the entire binder when I was losing my vision so that I would be able to see it. It has been absolutely a pleasure and a joy to work with you. And I will miss you quite a bit. I expect you to visit. I don't cry in public, so I'm not going to do that. But I will say that you will be missed, and I thank you for everything you've done. You deserve this retirement.
Yeah, when you look up ride or die in the dictionary, you're gonna see Barb Osborne. It's just a picture and Barb's name there, but your ability to keep your poise and remain calm in some of the most stressful moments of the board, to always provide an answer or solution or problem solving during some of our most difficult, stressful moments is just quite simply remarkable. And we're going to miss you. And I have all the faith in the world in training the person stepping into your shoes. They'll be hard to fill. But you deserve this retirement. You deserve lots of stress-free days on the beach somewhere. So thank you so much, Barb.
I can't like look at you and talk like this. I'm like, yeah, so I've only worked with you for a year. However, it has been filled with nothing but joy. You keep me very, I would say, in the straight and narrow, no matter what. And that's not to say anything bad, which is you've always are there to help. And I really appreciate us talking and your assistance, but more so just the conversation that sometimes we have that's not even about board. It's just like, how is life? And I think that, you know, we don't do that enough to have genuine conversations that way in the world. So I always appreciate that. I'm also not going to cry, even though I'm crying. But no, you definitely deserve this. And Ali was in first grade. I was in kindergarten. At that time. Yeah, so well deserved. And I'm looking forward to some pictures. And don't come back. Because I know I hear when you're on retirement, it's really easy to try to come back. So enjoy it.
Okay, Barb, you know I just got here a hot minute ago as a board member. But I want to say from the time that I worked inside the district, the amount of work that you do to support all of the staff who need to meet deadlines to get these consent items in, for you to follow up with things that need to be corrected and reposted, letting everyone know what passed, what didn't. There's so much behind the scenes work that you do to support superintendents and the administration so that the board can show up and do their work. No one will understand the amount of work that you do behind the scenes. You have been the glue for many superintendents, many administrators, and supporting the board with excellence. So I just want to say thank you for your tireless work. You're just so appreciated. I hate to see you go as I'm coming, but there's no one more deserving of this retirement than you. So thank you.
Barb, I've only known you for a year, yet you've gave me so much confidence and wisdom to be up here and be prepared. As a student, I've never felt so confident to step up and be in front of the public, whether virtual or in person, the 2 times I've come. Without your help, you've been so responsive to me and my questions, and I've had many. And I just want to thank you, and I really appreciate you for the time I've known you. And I know you will do so good, and you deserve this retirement. I'm so excited to see you have fun and enjoy the rest of your time, doing what you love. So thank you so much, Barb.
Board Member Simpkin.
Yes, I'd love to jump in. So Barb, we've known each other for about 6 weeks now. And one of the first things that I heard when I was elected was that you were the most important person for me to get to know immediately. And that was because you know everything. That's what I was told. So I want to just thank you so much. I'm so grateful that I had a chance to start out with you. And I wish you absolute adventures and relaxation and wonderfulness in your retirement. Good luck to you.
Dr. Jenkins.
Board Member Simpkin, I was also told that Barb was the most important person to get to know. So I thought that was just for me coming in. But as I've had the opportunity to work with many individuals, I tell you, Barb, I can't sing. I really can't. But it's that song that says, "You're simply the best." If I could sing that, I would sing that to you. But you would probably think I'm harassing you if I sing it, okay? Because I can't sing. But no, seriously, just the way that you've helped with myself, the transition into the middle of a pandemic, the way that you had us all on the Zooms and made sure that everybody had everything that they needed, the way you work between the cabinet and the board, I can't thank you enough. I think our community, you have done your job. You deserve to be able to retire. But this is MMSD, so we will call you. Okay, but go ahead and enjoy your retirement for as long as you can before we call. Thank you.
In closing, I'll say this. For 29 years, Barb has been the backbone of our community's Board of Education. She's made our work possible behind the scenes. It was Barb who prepared our materials for meetings, posted notices, coordinated calendars, recorded our votes, kept our minutes. It was Barb who taught us to listen to each other by being the person who listened to each of us and by caring for us, whether she agreed with us or not. It was her devotion to students and schools for the last 29 years that allowed us to focus on what really matters. It was Barb who taught us not to give up and how to keep going. When a global pandemic transformed education into something unrecognizable, it was Barb who set up our virtual meetings and kept us all safe. When we debated decisions late into the evening, Barb was in our corner, literally. And she was always the last person to go home. She has given more of her life to this district than anyone could ever ask her to. So often the work of public servants like Barb goes unnoticed, unappreciated, and becomes forgotten. I am writing this because I refuse to let that happen this time. Barb Osborne has been the heart and soul of this work since I was in first grade. Board members have come and gone. Superintendents have been hired and retired, but for 29 years, she has been our constant. She has been what connected us all. Barb steadily and silently working in the interest of our children to find my first term in office. It was her help, her thoughtfulness that gave me the strength over and over again to rise to the occasion. and it's hard to imagine doing this work without her. Still, if there's anybody who has earned a joyous retirement, it is Barb. So maybe the real point is, I want to say thank you always and for everything. We love you, and we will never forget how lucky we have been to have had this opportunity to work with you. And now for the superintendent's announcements, y'all.
I don't want to make a big speech. I've been thinking about this a lot in the last few months, and all the people that I have met and known and worked with. I have so many friends, so many people that I respect so very much. And it's really been a long time. I think I'm just tired. It's probably time to just pull back, and it'll be great. But this is very bittersweet for me. It's very hard to walk away. This is my home, and it has been for a long time. So I'm going to miss all the staff members who are here, all the board members who are here, and all the ones that I have known from the past, and there have been so many. So I'm very, very lucky. I'm so happy, but I'm sad. So you know how it is. A lot of people have come and gone. There's been so many people before me that have done the same work for a long time. And so I'm just trying to keep the thing going. And Jessie is going to be awesome. You're gonna love her. I love her. She's awesome. I couldn't have asked for anybody better to come in and do this. So thank you so very much. I really appreciated all of your words so much, and know that I love you, and I always will. I'll take you a piece of all of you with me when I go. Thank you.
This is Barb's last meeting, and I think the favor we could do now for her is to try to move through it quickly. So, Dr. Jenkins, turn it over to you.
Wow, Madam Chair. I just tell you, so hard following the recognition of Barb. And Barb, just once again, thank you. And so well deserved that we took our time this evening. We have a video that I would like to share with everyone before I begin with my comments. And this video kind of represents a little bit of us during the pandemic and a reminder of the collaboration. And I really do like the fact that one of the members got up, and I cannot start without mentioning the sentiments that I know this board and I share and administrators share for some of the comments that were made tonight. They were heartfelt, and we do feel it. I know we have a tough job to do, and I know we're going to go back and we're going to work on it. And we heard you, and we do see you. And it's a challenging time. I think I made the comment probably 1,000 times. I think this is one of the most egregious budgets I think I've seen, coming from legislators when they gave us a 0 to 0, and they're making us make decisions between what's right and what's right. Things that were said tonight were right. The most valuable factor in a child's life is having high quality people. I didn't just say teachers, I said people. Yes, from every level in our organization, our people, you really do matter. This board believes this. They've said it to me day one, that we have to have a good working relationship, and we're going to continue to work till we get there. But I encourage all of us to understand our realities in terms of where we are. And I heard Michael Jones say, we can get there together. Well, let's put it out there. Let's get there together. And let's not do what was intended to be done and causing public education to be destabilized because of a recklessness that took place in the legislators, but not truly invested in public education. You can't have $5.5 billion in surplus and not think about all the children, rural, urban, suburban, in the state of Wisconsin. I'm back to Wisconsin from '93 when we were thriving in the legislators and the support for education. We have to work together. We have to work through this, and we're going to get through this. Now, check out what you've done during the midst of a pandemic. I want to remind our community and thank them for the historical referendum. This board and you as a staff have come together, and all of this is because of you. Thank you. As we've been leaning forward together and we're beginning to build momentum, I think you see it clearly here that we've made strategic investments from what we said day one, that we were going to look at the science of reading. And in looking at the science of reading, we invested in letters, training for our staff. Every high quality staff need to have high quality professional development that's well aligned that the staff buys into. That wasn't top down, it was bottom up. It spread throughout our district, and you said you wanted it. We got it. I want to thank this board for that. I want to thank you for participating on the committees. We said we needed curriculum materials. Curriculum materials don't make children learn. Staff do. That's why your comments, they were very important. The SEAs who came up, I can't tell you how critical it is for us to have our SEAs in our buildings. We're going to be addressing that situation together. All of us, the board, you, us, we're here together. We still have to remember, we have to stay in it and make the right investments at the right time for all of us at the same time, but not be fiscally irresponsible. When we look at what we did with the referendum, taxpayers, we're taking your money to heart and being fiscally responsible. 45 playgrounds have already gone on in our districts. We have replaced several HVAC systems. The things that we said we were going to do during the referendum, we've done those things. We're doing them, and we're still going to do them. The parent who came up and said something about the equity issue, we hear you. And this board has said it day one, as a part of what we're about. We are about equity. We know that we've got to dig deeper on that. There's the disparities. The cost of building anything now is truly going up, and it's going up equitably. So if you were already behind, you stayed behind. You're right, but we're going to have to address that together. I ask you to work with us because we are the right district. When I came to the district, I said it clearly. If it can happen anywhere, it can happen in Madison, Wisconsin. We have some issues. We know that, but we have some opportunities. This community is building momentum. They believe in public education. We have to find a way to work through these things together. When you see the social emotional mental health piece, we're serious about that. We're asking you. I've heard people say they can't take mental health days. No, we encourage you. We encourage you to do that. And I thank you to those individuals who have worked with others so that they could take mental health days. And we appreciate the fact that some of you haven't done it because you're trying to make sure that the buildings are working. We want to do everything we can to invest not only in you, but invest in all of our scholars, and we have to work together to get it done. So I'm going to close on this note in terms of our investments in our students. Because of that, our investment in Avid, you began to see our students continue to go off college in records rates. MMSD still is a leader in terms of number of students and their post-secondary education options. We want to keep that. But the part in terms of how they've done that, it's been staff. We realize that. So just work with us, give us time. And I said unequivocally, you don't know the time that this board puts in behind the scene trying to make it all work. We have to work together. We don't have all the resources, so we're going to have to make some tough choices, but let's make them together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jenkins. Next, we have reports on items that proceeded through the instruction work group held on May 9th, 2022.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, go for it.
Go ahead. Thank you so much. So at that instruction work group meeting, we had a wellness update where we talked about our continuance to track the COVID metrics, testing operations, and metrics meetings update, primarily continuing with our masking mandate. As always, our primary goal is to keep schools open while minimizing the risk with mitigation strategies and providing for the social and emotional needs of our students. We also discussed the programmatic options for the future operations of Sail West, given the referendum and updates to the Hoyt building next year. With the academic plan, just want to give another shout out to Zamarian Wallace. But we started out discussing the PI 25 plan for DPI for all students to be on track to graduate, and want to reiterate our disagreement with the
Characterization.
with the deficit nature of a so-called at-risk plan. We then went into our Summer Arts Academy update. We have successfully partnered with over 20 local arts teachers to help with this new innovative arts program that focuses on uplifting Black and Brown culture in the arts. Finally, we talked about the academic plan update. Right now, our curriculum and instruction side of the house are endeavoring to conduct these community input sessions. They have conducted a few and are intending to conduct more over the summer and coming year. Themes so far from those input sessions have been literacy, avid tops, project-based learning, culturally relevant and accurate materials, restorative justice, transformational learning opportunities, and a better variety of food and cultural representation, arts representation, more, and helping students identify support systems, mental health, and trauma-informed practices. We're also trying to develop non-traditional metrics such as student portfolios, internships, authentic writing experiences, co-curriculars, competencies in a graduate vision, student goal setting, and acknowledging growth and character. Our next meeting is dated June 6, 2022. Topics for that next meeting will be our year in review, update on the academic plan, and continued conversation on a so-called at-risk plan, wellness and BEP policy updates, and finally, high-intensity partnership extensions.
Thank you, Board Member Castro. Board Member Gomez-Schmidt reports on items that proceeded through our operations work group held on May 16th.
Thank you, President Muldrow. For the operations work group, we continue to discuss the 2022-23 budget in detail as we work toward approval of our preliminary budget at the end of June. When we are discussing our budget, we basically have two pieces, our revenues and our expenses. Our revenues this year have been unusual due to the various funding drivers and how that influences the areas we are able to invest. Due to declining enrollment, a zero increase in per pupil revenue limit, and a zero increase in per pupil funding from the state. The increase in the revenue limit this year has been from the third year of our taxpayer approved 2020 operating referendum. In addition, we've received one-time federal COVID funds, relief funds that have allowed us to create a surge strategy of short-term spending to address operational challenges due to COVID, learning loss, targeted outreach, education technology, and mental health services and supports, all very important investments for our district. As a reminder, the proposed budget is a public document, and that helps the district and board communicate our plans and investments through our budget for 2022-23. We welcome input from the public and feedback on the budget, and you can find the link to the budget and the feedback form at mmsd.org/budget. As a reminder to board members, we talked about this in the operations work group. If board members are considering any budget amendments, please get those to Ross on or before this Friday, May 27th. I continue to say this to everybody. It's not to encourage everyone to send a slew of amendments to Ross, but if you are considering this, it is to allow the financial team to review these suggestions and respond before the June operations work group meeting as we work through the budget. We also received in the ops work group an update on the 2020 referendum projects and other building services work. The take home message is that we are into the construction phase of our projects after incredible work in the design and project bidding phases. While there have been increases in expected costs due to inflation, our teams are working to manage the shift and will continue to closely monitor each project going forward. The much needed investments in playgrounds, building maintenance, HVAC systems, water bottle filling stations, and asphalt repair continue to happen. The next operations work group meeting will be on Monday, June 13th, and we'll have our final discussion of the preliminary budget that we'll vote on in June. We will also have some policy updates and potentially an update on human resources or the employee handbook process.
Thank you, Board Member Gomez-Schmidt. We have no action items proceeding from either work group this month. I move that the Board of Education approve all of the motions set forth in Section 10 of the electronic agenda prepared for the May 23rd, 2022 regular school board meeting, exactly as said motions are written. By voting affirmatively on this motion, a board member expresses his, her, or their affirmative vote on each of the motions consolidated hereby, subject to any express separations that have been made by any member of the school board. Usually I would ask folks to separate right now, but before we do that, I am gonna ask Dr. Jenkins to speak to two specific areas within the consent agenda.
Sorry about that. If you notice 10.16 and 10.17, I have asked for those to be withdrawn. I want to give more time for us to have conversations and come back with it. But as a team, we'd just like to have it withdrawn for right now, and I'll bring it back later, and we're going to go through a process. So all the board members, I want you to be very comfortable with the information. Also letting you know that this becomes the backbone for implementing the work and the investments we've made in the work thus far. So we'll come back with this information at a later date.
Thank you so much for that information, Dr. Jenkins. I look forward to our ability to continue that conversation at a later date. I want to ask technically, Barb, while we've still got you, do we have to separate them, pull them out ourselves, or can we just kind of confirm what Dr. Jenkins just said? Thank you.
Can I second your motion?
Yes, you can. Thank you.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'm sorry, when I wasn't able to hear, did you already separate out the different pieces?
So Laura, I think you might have missed that the administration actually took 10.17 off and 10.16. They withdrew that from the consent agenda.
Okay.
Do you have other separations?
I do.
Okay.
10.7 and 10.10.
Any others? Any other separations? All right. Nama, your advisory vote?
Aye.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 7-0. Yes. All right. So then, Laura, we're going to go to 10.7 and I'll read the motion, get a second, and open it up for discussion. I'm sorry. I'm like this. I'm not sure if this is just my board doc or if this is everybody's board doc. I can't see the motion.
It is not there. That's why I wanted to separate it out.
Because there's not an actual motion, I don't think we need to engage in further discussion, but Barb, I greatly appreciate that explanation. I move that the Board of Education, I'm sorry, Board Member Gomez-Schmidt.
I was just going to ask if we could get that contract compliance attached and updated for us. Okay, thank you.
I move that the Board of Education approve entering into an amended contract, which includes an additional $36,000 in services for the total contract amount of $40,000 with Reach Dane We Start Daycare, formerly Dane County Parent Council, to support parenting students and their infants. These monies are funded by the 2021-2022 Health Services Operating Budget. Second, Board Member Pearson. Any discussion?
I just separated it out because I have to recuse myself.
Thank you so much for your recusal, Board Member Simpkin. Any further discussion? Nama, your advisory vote.
Aye.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries 7-1. I'm sorry, 6-1. Actually, it's 6-0. She's recusing. It's 6-0. There is no other business. And now we're moving on to City of Madison Education Committee. Board Member Nichols.
Yes, the City Education Committee met on May 11th. The committee made introductions since there were a couple of new members, including myself. We also discussed some of the history and context of the committee, really just to ground everybody in some of the work that the committee has been doing. We discussed priority areas for the committee, and there were 2 items on the agenda that we will be coming back to. One is, in what ways may we move forward with more of a naming and formal codification of the committee in each of our respective institutions, being the city, the county, and MMSD. So there's some conversation about that from a policy level. And we also elected new chairs of the committee. So I will be serving as co-chair of the City Education Committee along with County Board Supervisor Heidi Wegleitner. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Nichols, and thank you, County Board Member Heidi. Like, oof. All right. Nama, this is your last Student Senate report for the board.
Okay, great. So basically, we're excited to announce, if you've heard, that the new student representative is Joanna Hoskins from La Follette High School. We're super excited to have La Follette representation, and our alternate student representative, as well as student Senate president, is Lavinia Volpal from Memorial High School for the 2022-2023 school year. Additionally, Student Senate has had a very successful nomination program with about 10 8th graders who will transition to high school and become representatives of their high schools in Student Senate for the following year. And we're excited to see it flourish once again and see new 8th graders get involved with the district and with Student Senate. Lastly, Student Senate has also done a very successful full-scale digital and print rebranding, and it'll continue to recruit diverse leaders and build connections with affinity groups throughout the following year. And we're excited to get some new schools represented next year. So I'm excited to see where they'll go and their future.
Emma, thank you so much for that report and for all of your work. Oh. Madison Schools Community Recreation MSCR Advisory Committee, Board Member Vandermeulen.
Yes, we have been doing very well, and we were awarded 8 community learning center grants for 5 elementary schools and 3 middle schools. 100% of our grant applications were funded at $830,000 a year for the next 5 years. We really thank the principals and school teams for assisting us with this grant process. We entered into a partnership with the City of Madison Parks Division to run MSCR programs at the Goodman Pool. We're partnering with 9 other agencies to begin programming to underserved communities as part of the Mobile Madison collaboration. Some of the other agencies in this group include Madison Public Libraries, the REAP Food Group, and the Department of Natural Resources, among others. Our enrollment in a number of program areas has exceeded pre-COVID levels, including 50+ fitness and secondary programs. And we are adding something that's very near and dear to my heart. We are adding an accessible trail to the school forest to ensure that space is available for all people to use. And I look forward to actually trying that one out. And also we are outfitting our fleet of boats for adaptive programming. And that concludes my report.
Thank you so much for that report, Board Member Vandermeulen. Safety and Student Wellness Ad Hoc Committee. Gordon, can we hear from you?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Sorry. We met 2 weeks ago on May 13th, and the primary agenda was to discuss the guiding questions that we will ask our stakeholder groups and fellow members of the community. The 2 being, what is our vision for student safety and wellness, and what we should like MSD to do differently or more. Students and staff have said that in terms of well-being, they would like to see more of a cohesive approach towards building student to adult connection and identity and trust. They would also like to see the elimination of narratives that students must survive high school in the midst of a pandemic in terms of setting exceeding expectations for students. We went on to discuss student mental health as a high priority and ensuring that our students are being as upfront as they can and as well taken care of by all students and staff. In terms of communication, we would just say it's important to remain transparent in communication. We often notice that communication is limited even towards teachers. So communication can go a long way, especially in terms of safety, as we have seen recently. For programming, it was just to expand restorative justice beyond circles and to enhance mental health conversations and support groups, as social workers and school psychologists are overwhelmed. We went on to discuss how it's important to diversify workforce across all job types in our district, to continue to prioritize innovation and literacy, and to further discuss the importance of what it means to adopt a sense of community at all of our schools. We meet again this Thursday to further discuss items on what it means to be wellness, well and safe within our schools, and to finally discuss what we will do to actually go to the schools to ask for community input sessions. That's all.
Thank you so much, Gordon. City ad hoc, our Citizens Ad Hoc Committee relative to renaming Jefferson Middle School.
Good evening. The Citizens Ad Hoc Committee to rename Jefferson Middle School met for the first time on May 10th. The members introduced themselves to each other and reviewed some public meeting protocols, the charge statement, board policy 6700, which governs their work, and a draft timeline. They also looked at the webpage that is dedicated to this work for collecting input from the community and to communicate out about the committee's work. The members were then introduced to the research specialist who will provide information on the proposal as they begin their deliberations and the kind of research she will provide. They then looked at the community input received thus far. An updated report will be provided to each meeting throughout the process, and public input will be sought in other ways as the work progresses. The members are also encouraged to inform their networks. They then began to discuss the proposals and the process by which they would evaluate them. They took action to remove those names of people who were not deceased in accordance with board policy. The next meeting will be held virtually on Tuesday, May 24th at 5 p.m. and will continue to be live streamed on YouTube.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hicks. We'll now hear from Board Member Pearson and Ross on other business, tax incremental districts 36, tax incremental districts 39, and tax incremental district 42. After that, we will recognize Nama and Gordon for their service as part of this body of governance. And then we'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Board Member Pearson.
Yeah, thank you. So we have here Dan Rolfs, who is from the city of Madison, to give us a little context into the TIDS and TIF district. So yeah, go ahead and take it away, Dan.
Good evening, board members. I appreciate your time and your invitation. We appreciate the partnership between the city and the Madison Metro School District, along with all of our partners in the use of tax incremental finance. For those of you who are not robustly familiar with tax increment finance, it is a method of financing projects within the city whereby the city works with the overlying taxing jurisdictions, in this case, the Madison Metro School District, Dane County, and the Technical College, along with one other board member who is a member of the public and a member representing the city of Madison. Our partnership then invests dollars in projects in and around the city that are of benefit to all of the overlying taxing jurisdictions and the residents of the city. So in this case, you'll have three tax incremental districts, or TIDs, in front of you for consideration. Historically, we have worked with the Joint Review Board member. Previously, that was member Carusi, and now that is member Pearson. We've had some conversations as well. And we have also worked with the MMSD administrative staff and financial staff to provide information that is hopefully useful to this body and answers questions as they may be arise. So the three districts that you have, beg your pardon, the three districts that you have in front of you tonight are, again, TID 36, 39, and 42. The report from the administration staff, I think, seems to cover broadly what we are covering. And then I believe in your packet of information you have the project plan amendments themselves, as well as a report to the Joint Review Board body that covers the items that the Joint Review Board is required to consider when they vote on whether or not to approve a creation or amendment to a tax increment district. Again, we appreciate the partnership that we've had with the school district and hope that we can continue this moving forward. And personally, just thank you for having me here tonight, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you so much for joining us. Board members, do you have any questions?
I'll just say, I just brought Dan in because I thought it'd just be a good for new board members to know more about it, and also for the public, because it is something that is very complex. And I got a crash course last week on it. So yeah, and then I just wanted to mention that so folks know why Dan is here.
Thank you so much for being here with us, Dan, and thank you for that initiative, Board Member Pearson. Board Member Nichols. Board Member Nichols, I think you want to turn your mic on.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay, let me just make sure I'm looking at the right section. So in the analysis section for TID 36, related to the Capitol Gateway. It says that there will be, I guess in the updated project plan, a donation of 4 million to TID 42 from TID 36 to continue investment in the South Madison area. Could you say more about that?
Certainly, and thank you for that question, Board Member Nichols. In the project plans for 39 and 36, we have been donating tax increments into tax increment District 42, most recently from TID 39, but then this year from TID 36 as well. What you see here is the beginnings of investing in South Madison. So the first round of investment has included things like land banking. The city has a priority to acquire land so that we can guide redevelopment. The policymakers who I answer to are most primarily, at least recently, most primarily interested in things like creating and ensuring the existence of affordable housing, ensuring that there is community wealth building in South Madison. Just a brief anecdote, when I started with the city a few gray hairs ago, there were the alder at the time, who is no longer serving for the city, said that the South Madison had been overlooked by the city for many, many years for I guess I won't say why or not. I wasn't part of those decisions, but we at the city are hoping to turn that around, to change that, to invest in South Madison. That includes things like land banking. If you've been down to the Villager Mall, the Village on Park, that is a place where we will be investing heavily. So that right now is the first phase of that is the Urban League's Black Business Hub, that if you go down there is more than a hole in the ground. I drove by it the other day, and it has foundations and footings in there, and don't know if they have steel coming up, but it's close. Right next door to that, we will be constructing a parking structure that will serve not only the Village on Park, but also the Urban League itself. And moving forward, once that parking structure is complete, there will then, on the north end of the Village on Park. So if you are looking at Access Community Health, immediately west of there, there's a parking lot. The final phase of redevelopment of the Village on Park will include an affordable housing pad, but that pad doesn't exist unless we construct a parking structure to replace the parking that will be removed for the construction of the affordable housing project. So that is one process that we are undertaking now in South Madison to reinvest. And I will say personally, this is the most exciting work that I've been involved with the city in my 17 plus years here. We have almost half a dozen other similar kinds of projects in various phases of acquisition, redevelopment, negotiation, cleanup, etc., up and down the South Park Street corridor. Our goal is to invest in South Madison, and most particularly to ensure that that investment improves the lives in a real way for the folks who live there. We know that there are an awful lot of folks down there who could, who I think would benefit, but we want to make sure that we do it in an intelligent and a thoughtful way while being responsive to the community. I could go on at length, but I hope that it answers your question.
Yes, that does. Thank you so much for elaborating on that. I just have one follow-up, if you don't mind.
Certainly.
There's some language in here on the first page that says one of the TIDs. Let me just see which one it is.
Certainly.
TID 36 Capitol Gateway is identified as having a significant amount of quote unquote blighted areas. Yes. Indicating a significant amount of vacant and or distressed properties. So if you could just say a little bit about that. Yeah, I see the 5 points under that. Like, can you just say a little bit more about how you're addressing blighted areas without negatively affecting people?
Certainly. So a couple points. Broadly speaking, there are 3 primary types of tax increment districts: blighted area, mixed use, and industrial. And those are set forth in state statute. That's not something that we decide. That's just what the state has decided to call them. When TID 36 was created, this was 10 years ago. And if you recall at the time, that area, and this is specifically focused on TID 36, that area of the East Washington Avenue corridor was a mix of vacant car lots, some rundown commercial spaces, things like that. It was not at all what you see today when you drive down East Washington Avenue. So this is not focused on South Madison. This is focused on, that district is focused on East Wash. So the terminology of a blighted area district is something that's set forth in state statutes. So to address that question, I hope that I've addressed it in the context of TID 36. I'm okay. Have I answered your question?
Yes, that helps. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? Board Member Gomez-Schmidt.
Hi, Dan. Thank you for being with us tonight. My question is a little broader to understand how the TID committee interacts with, or the TIF committee interacts with the larger planning that goes on in the city. I know that the district used to have a representative from our staff on the planning commission. Is it the planning commission that does the planning, and then the financing for it comes from the financing committee? Can you explain a little bit how they interact, and if you know if there's other spots where MMSD should have a representative at the city level?
I'll try to answer both of those. So the interaction between the creation or amendment of a tax increment district is something that is driven by several factors. Some of them can be things like a developer comes forward and has a proposal, but the proposal requires financial assistance. They have a gap of $1 million and they believe that they need it. Staff reviews that proposal. Maya can talk to you all about the underwriting process that we go through. It's very exciting. But we determine, if we determine that it does require that assistance and the city finds it appropriate, we would then create the district itself. Now that process, that redevelopment process, has to be responsive to and fall into compliance with city plans for the community, the zoning, and those sorts of things. In this case, in the case of TID 42, where we are investing into South Madison, the city has just completed a new and updated South Madison plan. That process took a little over, it started before COVID, took a pause as COVID sort of hit everything, and then started again and finished at the end of COVID, or not, as COVID came back, and we had some more in-person meetings as well. So that process is informing in large part the work that we will do not only in TID 42, but in a future to be created tax incremental district that will cover South Madison. The other thing to bear in mind is on October 31st of this year, the town of Madison will no longer exist. The city will take in approximately 5,000 new residents, along with taking over jurisdiction for a large portion of that area. When that occurs, the city will then have the legal authority under TIF law to create a new tax increment district in that area in South Madison. By statute, a community cannot create a TID for property that is not within its corporate limits, right? So the interaction between a plan that we have in place and the creation of a district in this case is very closely linked. That's not always the case because other things happen. But in this case, we have been watching this very, very closely to see how the process plays out, to see what the plan calls for, to see what opportunities are available for the community and the city, so that as we move forward and as we invest, we are working very hard to be both thoughtful about what we do and how we invest your money, and ensuring as best we are able that the investments that we make improve the lives for the folks that live in South Madison. The other question you had, I believe, was the interface between the Joint Review Board itself and the creation of a TID. Is that, am I remembering that correctly? I apologize if I'm mixing it up.
I'm sorry. I was mainly I was asking about how the recommendation to reinvest TID funds, how the city makes those decisions and then recommends it to you for the financing. And then if MMSD has someone who sits on that planning commission.
Board Member Gomez-Schmidt, I think that your questions have to be specific
Okay.
to these three TID,
Okay.
right? And
Nope,
so
that's fine. And I can ask that. We can follow up another time with that.
Okay.
That's fine.
Thank you. Further discussion or questions? I move that the Board of Education direct Maya Pearson as the board representative on the Tax Increment Finance Board to vote in support of TID 36 amendment under consideration as set forth in the documents attached to this item for the regular board meeting dated May 23rd, 2022.
Second.
Second, Board Member Vandermeulen. Nama, your advisory vote.
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 7. I move that the Board of Education direct Maya Pearson as board representative on the Tax Increment Finance Board to vote in support of TID 39 amendment under consideration as set forth in the documents attached to this item for the regular board meeting dated May 23rd, 2022.
Second.
Second, Board Member Nichols. Nama, your advisory vote.
Aye.
All those in favor? Motion carries 7. I move that the Board of Education direct Maya Pearson as the board representative on the Tax Incremental Finance Board to vote in support of the TID 42 amendment under consolidation as set forth in the documents attached to this item for the regular meeting dated May 23rd, 2022. Nama, your advisory vote.
Aye.
All those in favor? Oh, I'm sorry. Second.
Second.
Second, Board Member Nichols. Nama, your advisory vote.
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Before we move to adjourn, I want to recognize that this is Nama's last meeting with us. Nama, you have served at an incredible time in this district throughout a global pandemic. You have been one of the most poised and intentional colleagues I have ever had the pleasure of working with. Thank you so much for all that you've done. I'm going to open it up for my fellow board members and our superintendent to wish you well and appreciate all that you've done. And I think we'll start with you, Dr. Jenkins.
Thank you so much, Chair Mulder, because Nama is just that student, that poised student. I had an opportunity to see her in her setting amongst her peers. She's just as poised amongst them, and they look to her as a leader in the building. And I just really love, Nama, the way that you just brought everyone's voice into that classroom, upholding one of our core values. And it has truly been a pleasure just getting to know you during this year. We know that you're going to be also successful in your next journey. Thank you so much, Kevin.
Nama, I want to say thank you for your service to the board. It has really been a pleasure to get to know you. It's nice to see you in person. It has been a lot of meetings over Zoom, so it is great to see you. I just want to say really thank you for all of the really great questions you have brought to the board on a number of topics. You have really, a lot of times, kept us student-centered and asking really good questions that you have gathered from Student Senate and from your peers and from those around the district. And I've just really appreciated your voice. I remember there was a really sort of intense meeting, and at one time you said, hey, everybody needed to take a step back. And I thought it was really neat that you, brought us back to being student-centered on that. I also want to say that being a representative with the Student Senate this year, I got to see your amazing organizing and interaction skills with other student members and really encouraging the younger group of leaders that is coming up behind you. So I want to appreciate your leadership on that too. And before you leave, I don't want to lose your infographic idea that you and Gordon have been doing on Instagram, the work that Student Senate has been doing to share with the community the work that the board does has really been a great connection. So thank you.
Thank you.
Nama, you've done a wonderful job on the board. I really got to know you in person at the voter registration event at West. It was a pleasure working with you. It's quite clear you are very knowledgeable, both of the political field, but also in voting and in understanding the importance of youth activism. And I really appreciate that. I wish you the best of luck in your future.
Nama, thank you so much for your service on this board. I've been really impressed and appreciative of your work as someone who can both advocate for and organize with your peers, and have always appreciated and really pushed us to prioritize student mental health in all of our discussions. That issue is paramount right now, and our focus on student mental health wouldn't be where it is without you. So thank you.
Nama, working with you made us a better board. It made us a better board every time you spoke up. I hope you continue to speak up. I hope you know how valuable your voice and your perspective and your leadership is. And I hope you know that we wish you nothing but success.
Hey, Nama. So I got to meet you in person actually this last week. And it was great. Thank you and Gordon for both bringing all the students to that event. It was really nice to be able to be in company with them. And I appreciate all the work that you have done. And I'm looking forward to see what you're going to do in the future.
Nama, clearly we didn't get an opportunity to work together very long, but I've been watching you from afar. And I've just been really impressed with your poise and your thoughtfulness. And just I can always see how engaged and in tune you have been to all of the topics that have come forward. And so I know that's going to carry you far, and I'm wishing you the best. I'm sorry we didn't get an opportunity to work together longer. Thank you.
Oh my, thank you so much. I mean, I don't know, I can't put into words how much this experience has taught me and how much of my school I got to see from this experience. I mean, you guys have faced so many obstacles with the pandemic, social injustices, just everything happening in our world. And just seeing how much leadership and support you guys give students and seeing how much you've been like, you face so many things and you still put students before everyone. And I've been incredibly honored to be able to show students and kind of be that student representative that can bring the voice to the table. And your wisdom and words have really meant a lot to me. And I'm really glad I got this experience. And I mean, thank you, Gordon. Without you and your encouragement, I don't know, where I would be and if I'd be even inspired to run for this position, but you gave me a lot of encouragement and confidence. I'm so glad to have you by my side. Thank you, Gordon. Thank you, board. This has been an honor, and I'm so excited to use what I learned in the future, and especially I'll be in Madison, so I'll be keeping an eye on you guys.
We're going to end tonight's meeting with our final farewell of the evening. And Gordon, I'd like to invite you to come up here and sit with us while we all talk about how much it has meant to have this opportunity to work with you. And again, we'll start with Dr. Jenkins and we'll go all the way around.
I tell you, as my time is serving as superintendent in many places, I've come across top students, top individuals that have gone on to do great things. Okay, am I there now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was saying as my time serving in superintendent in multiple places, I've come across many students who are just wonderful. They've gone on to do great things. But in my estimation, you two are just completely amazing at the next level. You have demonstrated not only on this board, but amongst your peers, you're great human beings. And that's like the first thing, to be a great human being. And beyond that, your scholarship is truly at the next level. I can see someday, really and truly, when Gordon, you become that congressperson, right? That you want to be. And you're going to be a congressman. And then Nama's going to be the president of the United States. And they're both from Madison. How about that? Right? And but I just can't say enough how you, Gordon, personally has just changed me a lot. I've learned so much from you, and you intentionally. We talk about our pillars. You are one who demonstrate excellence, equity, and intentionality in humanity, human decency. I'm just like, wow, you've been here before, and I know that. But you are simply amazing and one of the best, I think, too, I've ever met. Thank you, Gordon, for what you've given me.
Gordon, thank you so much for your leadership this year on the Student Senate. It has been amazing to watch you lead that group and to also, have you with us for some of the board meetings, lending your voice to all of the issues that we've been discussing. I am, just grateful for the thoughtful conversations that we've had on a range of issues, and just again, really appreciate your leadership for the students that are coming up behind you, because I've watched you cultivate that as you have worked with Student Senate this year. And I really wish you all the best as you go off to Stanford, and I'm looking forward to what you do next. Thank you.
Gordon, I've been impressed with your leadership abilities since you started with the board. I love how you and Nama have worked together. I know you're going to do absolutely amazing things at Stanford. It doesn't surprise me one bit. And I know you are going to continue to surprise us with absolutely great things that you will continue to do. And I just wish you the best of luck.
First of all, Gordon, I really like your fit. Number two. Number two, when I visited East this past fall and saw your ability to help organize students, find solutions, and search for justice in those tough moments at East, really demonstrated your leadership. It's not when things are easy, it's when we're going through adversity. And the way that you demonstrated a calm presence in that room was remarkable. As others have said, looking forward to calling you Congressman Allen someday. Hopefully we can secure some more education funding from Congress, both you and Nama. This is in a lot of ways an unforgettable year because of you two. So thank you.
Gordon, I am living for the opportunity to vote for you, living for it. And I think like in a world that is so, that can be so negative and so destructive, you are constantly solution focused. I met you my first year on the board when I was assigned to Student Senate, and that was 3 years ago. And for 3 years, I've seen you consistently rise to the occasion of listening to everyone around you. There's a lot of leaders who are good at talking. There are a lot fewer who are great at listening. And those are the greatest leaders, and you are one of them. And I am so honored to have had this opportunity to work with you and to know you And I can't wait to vote for you and donate to your campaign and put that bumper sticker on my car.
Gordon, it has been an honor to really get to know you more in this last, I would say, since September, yeah. Because that's when we were at East and we were meeting with the BSU. And I don't know, I just am wild when students step up and they realize their voice like fully, and that they have the power to, or feel like they have the power and have the power to actually keep things going and moving. One thing that Ali said is like in saying about solutions and making sure that you find them. And I've watched you do that. And I am very proud to also be working with you in the future as you, even though you're moving off. And then also too, good luck in Stanford. And I know you're gonna do some great things. And as everyone has already said, even if I can't vote for you as congressman, wherever you go, I hope you run no matter what. And, you know, just make sure you holler at me. My number will still be the same. I'll donate to your campaign as well.
Gordon, I'm trying to remember when our paths first crossed. What was it? Yeah, Superintendent Student Advisory Group. I feel like, I mean, obviously our time together now on the board it's not really going to happen, which is unfortunate, but it has been amazing to see you over the years and to just see you honing your leadership, like finding your voice. I just feel like you've always kind of have been like this ever since like you showed up in like high school. But your leadership has been always amazing. And you've always been unforgettable. You know, like people have known when you've been in a room and what you've had to contribute. And so I just want to thank you, not only for the work that you've done with the board, with the student, I mean, the safety and ad hoc committee, but you have been like giving to MMSD for years. And so I just want to thank you for being the kind of student and leader who has not just shown up for the learning, but also has given back. And so deep appreciations for you. Wish that we had an opportunity to work together in this capacity, but you're gonna, I'm really looking forward to your next transition, your next chapter. So I'm wishing you the best.
Gordon, oh my God, I don't even know where to start, but you are literally so incredible. And I am so honored to got to know you in the past 2 years. I mean, I will remember you forever and I will cherish our friendship and your leadership so much. I know you've taught me so much and you've done so much for Student Senate, your organization, your leadership, your courage. You've shown us how to really be a voice in the district and how to show up in number and show up in power. And I know I can say this for all of the student senators that you will be missed and we have loved you so much and everything that you've done. And I'm so excited to know you. I mean, to have known you because I know you're going to go places and I'm so excited to know someone famous because I know you will be. I know you will be, Gordon. And have fun in California. You stay in touch, okay? You're going to do great things, Gordon, okay?
And with that, I'm like, Gordon, do you want to give us any advice before you head out?
Well, first, can I just say thank you all for the affirmations. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to miss all of you, and I hope you all stay in contact. I want to get back to my community. You know, that's what I stand for. And Nama, I just want to say, honestly, when I give you compliments, I should do mean. I don't give compliments often. So, Nama, you have been extremely good at your job with the infographics, you know, stand up for student voice with the voter registration. Thank you so much for that. Nichelle, when I first met you, you were choking on a trinket. And I was like, but I just saw the passion. I heard the passion in your voice, and then I was like, oh my God, I love this woman. I was so Nichelle, I'm glad you're back. Um, Maya, I see so much, I see so much potential in you, and I'm glad that I have met you. And you remind me so much of like my older sister on my father's side, and I really do appreciate you. Ali, when I first met you, I was like, whoa. We have someone truly remarkable on who's going to lead our board into the, formidable future. And Ali, I appreciate you so much. Your children are so lucky to have you as a mother. And Savion, I known you for a while, and I've always appreciated you. I also know, Ms. Smith, she talks a lot about you too, but I really do appreciate that. And I'm glad we have been able to maintain a good relationship over the years. Nikki, I appreciate how much you are willing to stand up for those who are often ignored in our district. It is something that not many people can do. And I honestly praise you for that. Chris, I just gotta say you are one intelligent person. I always hear, your thoughts on things, and I remember seeing you and your daughter at Target, and I still remember that. And I'm glad you're still here, and I'm sure you're going to continue to do well. Dr. Jenkins, I really do appreciate you. You have been a great mentor to me, and you have taught me so much when it comes to leadership. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people in this district appreciate you as well. And I just got to say thank you for all the things that you have done for us so far. And for everyone else in the audience, thank you for doing what you can to transform our district. So for some advice, as Ali said, I went off on a tangent, but just continue to stick together in the face of adversity. That's the best thing you can do.
Well, that's a wrap, folks, because Gordon just said, continue to stick together in the face of adversity. It doesn't get much better than that. So with that said, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. All those, or Nama, for the last time, your advisory vote.
Aye.
All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Good night, everybody.